My child, I need you to hear this message right now. Do not scroll, do not delay, because what I am about to reveal is already beginning. This is not a moment to treat lightly, not a message to pass by, not something to hear halfway and forget. I am speaking to you now with urgency because something has already shifted, something has already started to move in your life, and if you miss this moment, you may not recognize what is unfolding right in front of you. I have stopped you here on purpose. This is not coincidence. This is not random timing. I arranged this exact second for you to hear my voice clearly, without distraction, without delay, because your heart has been waiting for an answer, even when you stopped expecting it. You thought you just came across this message, but no, my child, I brought you here. I interrupted your day, your thoughts, your routine, because I know what you have been carrying silently. I know what you have been asking me in moments when no one else was listening. I know what you have been trying to accept, trying to move on from, trying to forget because it hurt too much to hold on to hope any longer. But listen carefully now, because I did not allow you to arrive here just to comfort you. I brought you here to reveal something that is already happening. You have cried over things you thought were gone forever, but I never called them finished. You called it over because the door closed. You called it lost because time passed. You called it finished because no answer came when you needed it most. But I never spoke that word over your life. I never declared it finished. I never said it was gone. What you saw was islands, but what I saw was a process. What you felt was absence, but what I was doing was preparing something deeper than you could understand at the time. You thought the story ended there, but I was still writing beyond the page you stopped reading. Everything you lost is not lost. It is being returned, and it starts now. Not later, not someday far away, not in a distant season you cannot reach. It begins now. Even as you are listening to my voice, even as your heart is trying to understand whether this is real, something has already started moving. You may not see it yet. You may not feel it fully yet, but I am telling you clearly, restoration has already begun. What you believed slipped out of your life permanently has not disappeared from my plan. What you thought was taken away without reason is being brought back with purpose. Even while you are listening, something has already begun to move back toward you. This is not just words meant to give you hope. This is movement happening beyond what your eyes can measure. There are things aligning. There are answers forming. There are paths reopening in ways you did not expect. There are pieces returning that you thought had no way back. The moment you are in right now is not empty. It is active. It is alive with unseen motion. You may feel still, but around you, beyond you, beneath what you can see, things are shifting in your favor. I saw every tear you hid, every moment you thought it was over. I saw when you tried to stay strong in front of others but broke in private. I saw when you told yourself to let it go because holding on was too painful. I saw when you stopped talking about it because explaining your pain felt exhausting. I saw when you accepted loss outwardly but still carried the question inwardly. Why did this happen? I saw when you lay awake thinking about what could have been, what should have been, what you hoped would have been. Not one tear escaped my sight. Not one moment of your pain was ignored. I was there, even when you felt alone, even when it felt like silence had replaced my presence. And I need you to stay with me now. Do not move away from this message too quickly. Do not let your mind distract you or your doubt interrupt what I am saying. Stay until the end. because the final words carry the exact confirmation your heart has been waiting for. There is something specific I am going to reveal to you, something your spirit will recognize immediately, something that will settle the question you have carried for so long. If you leave too soon, you may miss the very part that was meant for you. This is not just another message. This is your moment of understanding, your moment of clarity, your moment of divine reassurance. What felt delayed was never denied. It was being prepared for return. You thought time was taking it further away from you, but time was actually bringing it closer in the right form. You thought the silence meant it was over, but the silence was protecting what I was preparing. You thought the delay meant you were forgotten, but the delay was part of the design. I was not ignoring your request. I was refining the outcome. I was not closing the door forever. I was rebuilding what was behind it. I was not taking something away to leave you empty. I was creating space to return it in a way that would not break you again. Because hear me clearly, my child, what I restore will not come back the same. It will return multiplied. It will return stronger, better, clearer, more aligned with who you have become through the pain you endured. You are not the same person you were when you first lost it, and what I bring back will not be the same either. It will match the growth you went through. It will match the strength you built. It will match the lessons you learned when you thought everything was falling apart. What returns will not carry the same weakness it had before. It will not break the same way. It will not leave the same way. It will be different because you are different. I know part of you is still unsure. I know part of you is asking, can this really be true? Can something that felt so final actually return? And I tell you now, yes. Not because of chance, not because of luck, but because I am the one who restores. I am the one who rebuilds what looks broken. I am the one who brings life back to what seemed finished. I am the one who works beyond what your eyes can see and your mind can understand. Type Jesus, lead me forward if you're ready to follow wherever He calls. Comment thank you for your unfailing love, Lord, if you've been held by His hands. You are not listening to this by accident. You are here because this is the moment your story begins to turn. This is the moment where what you thought was lost begins to find its way back. This is the moment where silence begins to speak again, where emptiness begins to fill, where waiting begins to make sense. So hold on for these next moments, because what I reveal next will show you why I allowed you to lose it before I return it. My child, the reason you believed it was gone forever is because loss has a way of speaking louder than truth when pain is still fresh. When something leaves your life suddenly, or slowly fades until it is no longer there, your heart tries to protect itself by accepting the worst conclusion as quickly as possible. You told yourself it was over not because I declared it finished, but because the silence that followed felt too heavy to carry any other meaning. You looked at what was no longer in your hands, what was no longer in your reach, what was no longer responding to your effort, and your mind searched for a way to make sense of it. And the only answer that seemed to fit the emptiness you felt was this: it is gone. It is over. It will not return. I saw that moment inside you when hope slowly gave way to acceptance, not because you wanted to stop believing, but because believing had started to hurt too much. I saw when you stopped checking, when you stopped expecting, when you stopped speaking about it because saying it out loud reminded you of what was no longer there. That quiet shift inside your heart was not weakness. It was pain trying to find rest. It was your spirit trying to survive something it did not understand. You did not lose something small. What you lost carried weight. It carried meaning. It carried a piece of your heart that you had invested deeply, honestly, and without holding back. That is why it hurt the way it did. If it had been small, you would have moved on easily. But this mattered to you. It mattered in ways you could not explain fully to others. It mattered in ways that reached into your future, into your plans, into your sense of what life was supposed to become. And when it disappeared, it did not just leave a gap. It left a silence that echoed. That silence is what convinced you it was over. Because when something truly ends in the human understanding, it often ends with quiet. No answers. No movement. No sign of return. Just stillness. And you stood in that stillness longer than you expected. At first, you waited. You believed maybe something would change. Maybe something would come back. Maybe something had just been delayed. But as time passed and nothing moved, your heart began to shift. You stopped asking as much. You stopped hoping as strongly. You began to accept that maybe this chapter had closed permanently. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness in your life and devotion to God. And if you want, you can donate to us via given link in description or pinned comment to show your support. But listen to me now, because I need to correct what silence made you believe. Silence after loss does not always mean finality. Silence is often where I work the deepest unseen parts of restoration. But from where you stood, silence felt like absence. It felt like I had stepped back. It felt like I had allowed something to leave without explanation. And that feeling made you question not only the situation, but sometimes even yourself. You wondered if you had done something wrong. You wondered if you had missed something. You wondered if maybe this loss was something you deserved or caused. I saw those thoughts forming, even when you tried not to give them space. I saw the questions you carried quietly, the ones you did not speak because you did not want to admit how deeply you were affected. You told yourself to be strong. You told yourself to move on. You told yourself that holding on would only make it worse. But even as you said those words, part of you still felt the absence. Loss has a way of rewriting the story in your mind. It makes you believe that what is no longer visible is no longer possible. It makes you believe that time moving forward means the past cannot return. It makes you believe that what slipped out of your hands has slipped out of your life forever. But my child, what you see as an ending is not always an ending in my plan. What you felt was real. The pain was real. The emptiness was real. I am not dismissing what you experienced. I am not telling you that it did not matter. I am telling you that your conclusion about it being over was shaped by what you could see, not by what I was still doing beyond your sight. There were moments when you revisited that loss in your mind. You thought about how things used to be. You thought about how it felt before it disappeared. You wondered what could have been different. You imagined what life would look like if it had stayed. And each time you returned to those thoughts, there was a mixture of longing and resignation. Longing because it mattered, and resignation because you believed it was gone. I saw every one of those moments. I saw when the memory came back unexpectedly. I saw when something reminded you of it and your heart tightened for a second before you pushed the feeling away. I saw when you almost allowed yourself to hope again, then quickly stopped because you did not want to be disappointed again. You trained yourself not to expect, not to imagine, not to believe too strongly, because protecting your heart felt safer than risking another loss. But my child, the reason it felt permanent was not because it was truly gone beyond my reach. It felt permanent because the silence lasted longer than your understanding. It felt permanent because no sign appeared when you needed reassurance. It felt permanent because everything around you continued moving forward, while this one thing remained still. You interpreted that stillness as final. But I need you to hear this clearly now. I never called it finished. You called it finished because you could not see it anymore. You called it finished because you could not reach it anymore. You called it finished because time passed and nothing changed. But I was not finished with it. I was not finished with what it meant in your life. I was not finished with what I had planned through it. The emotional weight of losing something deeply valued is something I do not overlook. I know how it feels when something you trusted disappears. I know how it feels when something you built your expectations around is suddenly no longer there. I know how it feels when something you cared for deeply becomes something you can only remember. I walked with you through that pain, even when you did not feel my presence. I was there when you tried to understand it. I was there when you stopped trying to understand it. I was there when you accepted it outwardly but still questioned it inwardly. I was there when you carried it quietly because explaining it felt too exhausting. And even in that silence, I was not inactive. But from your perspective, silence spoke louder than anything else. Silence told you it was over. Silence told you to let go. Silence told you that what was lost would not return. And because silence stayed longer than your patience expected, you believed it. That is why you thought it was gone forever. Not because it truly was, but because silence convinced you that it had reached its end. And now I am speaking to you to undo what silence made you believe. My child, I saw everything you lost. Not just the things that others noticed. Not just the things that could be explained in words, but everything. Every piece, every moment, every part of your life that slipped away when you were not ready to let it go. Nothing escaped my sight. Nothing disappeared without me knowing exactly what it meant to you. You may have felt like some things vanished into silence, like they left without leaving a trace, like they were erased from your life without reason, but I was there through all of it. I saw it as it happened. I saw what it took from you. I saw what had changed inside you. I saw the relationship you lost. I saw the people you trusted, the ones you opened your heart to, the ones you believed would stay. I saw the conversations that slowly faded, the closeness that turned into distance, the moments when something shifted and you could feel it even if no one said it out loud. I saw when you tried to hold things together, when you tried to understand what went wrong, when you tried to fix what was already slipping away. I saw how much you gave, how much you cared, how much you invested emotionally, and I saw how it felt when that connection was no longer there the same way. Losing people is not just about their absence. It is about the space they leave behind. It is about the silence where their presence used to be. And I saw how that silence affected you. Right, God is my anchor of hope if He keeps you steady through life's waves. I saw the opportunities you lost, the ones you worked for, the ones you prepared for, the ones you believed were finally opening a new chapter for you. I saw the doors that seemed so close, the moments when you thought, this is it, only to watch it change, delay, or disappear. I saw the effort you put in, the time you invested, the hope you allowed yourself to feel. And I saw what happened when those opportunities did not become what you expected. I saw the confusion, the disappointment, the quiet questions you carried afterward. You wondered why something that felt so right did not happen. You wondered what you missed. You wondered if you had done something wrong. But my child, I saw it all, and not one of those moments passed without meaning. I saw the peace you lost, the peace that once felt natural, the calm that once lived easily in your heart. I saw how slowly, or sometimes suddenly, it was replaced with worry, with overthinking, with heaviness that stayed longer than you wanted. I saw the nights when your mind would not rest. I saw the days when you felt tired even without doing much because your thoughts carried so much weight. I saw when your joy became quieter, when your laughter became less frequent, when your spirit felt like it was holding something it could not fully release. You may have thought no one noticed that shift, but I did. I saw the difference in you, and I understood why it happened. I saw the time you feel you lost, the time you cannot get back, the time you thought would look different by now, the time you expected to be in a different place, to have different results, to feel different than you do today. I saw the moments when you looked at your life and wondered why things took so long, why progress felt slow, why others seemed to move ahead while you remained in the same place. I saw the frustration, the comparison, the quiet disappointment when you realized that things had not turned out the way you imagined they would by now. Time can feel like loss when it does not bring the results you hoped for, and I know how deeply that affected you. Nothing you lost was unseen. Nothing you lost was ignored. Nothing you lost was meaningless to me. I did not overlook your grief. I did not dismiss your pain. I did not expect you to simply move on as if it did not matter. What you felt was real. The hurt was real. The emptiness was real. And I was present in every part of it. Even when you did not feel me there. There were moments when you thought you had to be strong, when you felt like you could not show how much it hurt because you did not want to appear broken. You carried your grief quietly. You processed your pain alone. You told yourself to keep going, to not let it affect you too much, to not let others see how deeply it reached. But I saw beyond what you showed. I saw what you carried when you were by yourself. I saw the tears you did not explain. I saw the heaviness you could not put into words. I saw the moments when you just sat in silence because you did not know what else to do with what you were feeling. And my child, your grief mattered. You were not wrong for feeling it. You were not weak for struggling through it. You were not lacking faith because it hurt you. Loss is not something that passes without leaving a mark. It touches the heart. It changes how you see things. It reshapes how you trust, how you hope, how you expect. And I never expected you to feel nothing. I never expected you to pretend it did not matter. I saw your grief, and I honored it. There were times when you asked me why. Why did this happen? Why did this leave? Why did this not work out? Why did this change? Why did this take so long? You may not have always received the answer you wanted in that moment, but that does not mean I was not listening. I heard every question. I understood every confusion. I knew the weight behind every why you asked. I also saw the strength it took for you to keep going after loss. Even when you felt like something important had been taken from you, you still continued. Even when your heart felt heavy, you still showed up for your life. Even when you did not feel like yourself, you still tried. That strength did not go unnoticed. That endurance mattered. That quiet persistence, even in pain, was something heaven recognized. You may feel like what you lost defined your story, like it created a permanent mark that cannot be undone. But I want you to understand this. Loss may have touched your life, but it does not define your future. What left you did not take your purpose with it. What disappeared did not erase what I have spoken over you. What changed did not cancel what I am still doing. I saw everything you lost, and because I saw it, I also hold the power to restore what needs to be restored, to heal what needs to be healed, to bring back what was meant to return in a way that is better than before. Nothing escaped my sight, and nothing is beyond my reach. My child, I know this is the part your heart struggled with the most. Not just the loss itself, but the question behind it. Why did I allow it? Why did I not stop it? Why did I remain quiet when it slipped out of your hands? You ask these questions in moments of silence, sometimes of words, sometimes only with tears. And I heard you every time. I did not turn away from your questions. I did not ignore your confusion. But now I need you to hear this clearly, because what I am about to tell you will change how you understand everything you went through. The loss was not punishment. It was preparation. You thought something was being taken from you because you had done something wrong, because you were not enough, because somehow you failed to hold on to it. But I never removed anything from your life to punish you. That is not how I work. I do not take to harm you. I do not remove to leave you empty. When something left your life, it was not because I wanted to hurt you. It was because I was preparing you for something your current situation could not hold. I know it did not feel like preparation. It felt like pain. It felt like confusion. It felt like something breaking without reason. But preparation does not always feel gentle. Sometimes preparation feels like loss because it removes what cannot continue into the next part of your life. There were things in your life that could not go where I am taking you. Some of them looked right on the outside. Some of them felt comfortable. Some of them were familiar. Some of them carried meaning because you had invested your heart into them. But not everything that feels right in one season can survive in the next. And if I allowed everything to stay, it would have limited what I am now preparing to bring into your life. Certain things had to be removed. Not because they were completely wrong, but because they were no longer aligned. Some relationships were not strong enough to support the version of you that is emerging. Some opportunities were not built to carry your future. Some environments were too small for where you are going. And if I allowed them to remain, they would have slowly restricted you, drained you, or broken you in ways you could not yet see. You saw loss. I saw misalignment. You saw something being taken away. I saw something that could not continue safely. You saw the end. I saw the protection. There were also things that needed to be reset. Some situations in your life had become unbalanced. Some areas had become too dependent on things outside of me. Some parts of your heart were attached in ways that could have caused deeper pain later. And instead of allowing those imbalances to grow stronger, I allowed a breaking point to come. Not to destroy you, but to reset what needed to be rebuilt correctly. Because what you are stepping into cannot be built on unstable foundations. I know you did not understand that when it happened. When something breaks suddenly, it does not feel like a reset. It feels like an ending. It feels like something collapsing. It feels like everything you were holding onto is slipping away at once. But sometimes, what looks like collapse is actually correction. It is me stopping something before it becomes something that would harm you more deeply in the future. There were also losses that protected your future in ways you could not see. There were paths you wanted to walk that carried hidden consequences. There were doors you wished would open that would have led you into places not meant for you. There were connections you tried to hold on to that would have eventually caused more pain than peace. But because you could not see the full picture, you only saw what you were losing, not what you were being protected from. I saw what was ahead. I saw what would happen if certain things stayed. I saw where certain paths would lead. And because I love you too much to let you walk into something that would damage you, I allowed certain things to leave before they could take more from you than they already had. What felt like loss was also protection. There were moments when you thought, why did this have to end? But if you could see what I saw, you would understand that it could not continue without costing you something far greater. I did not remove something good to give you nothing. I removed what could not stay so I could give you something better. But I know your heart still asks, why did it have to hurt so much? Because anything you value deeply will always leave a mark when it changes. I did not expect you to feel nothing. I knew it would hurt. I knew it would shake you. I knew it would leave you with questions. But I also knew that this pain would not be wasted. It would shape you. It would strengthen you. It would open your eyes in ways comfort never could. You are not the same person you were before that loss. You see things differently now. You understand things more deeply now. You are more aware, more discerning, more grounded than you were before. And even though you would not have chosen that pain, it created something inside you that will be necessary for what is coming next. That is why I allowed it. Not to harm you, not to punish you, but to prepare you, to remove what could not remain, to reset what needed to be rebuilt, to protect you from what you could not yet see, and to shape you into someone who can carry what I am about to return to your life. Because what is coming back to you cannot be handled by the version of you that existed before. It requires the strength you now carry. It requires the wisdom you have gained. It requires the depth that only that season could create inside you. So do not look at your loss as something that only took from you. Look at it as something that positioned you. Because I did not allow you to lose just to leave you empty. I allowed it so I could return something greater, stronger, and more aligned with your future. And what is coming back will make sense of everything you went through. My child, what was taken from you was not destroyed, even though it felt like it disappeared beyond your reach. I need you to hear this slowly and deeply, because your heart has carried the belief that certain things are gone forever, that what you lost has no way of returning, that what slipped away has been erased completely. But I am telling you now, nothing that was truly meant for you has been destroyed. It may have been removed from your hands. It may have been hidden from your sight. It may have been separated from your present moment, but it was not erased from my plan. You saw absence, but I saw preservation. You saw something ending, but I was holding it in a place where it could not be damaged further. There are things I allow to leave your life, not to destroy them, but to protect them from becoming something they were never meant to become. If something remains in the wrong environment, it begins to change in ways that harm its purpose. If something stays in the wrong timing, it begins to lose its strength. If something continues under pressure it was not designed to carry, it can break beyond repair. So instead of allowing that to happen, I remove it, I pause it, I separate it, not to end it, but to preserve what it was always meant to be. I know you did not see it that way. From where you stood, it looked like loss. It looked like something slipping away without explanation. It looked like something being taken without warning. But behind what you saw, there was hidden preservation taking place. Some things were not ready to continue the way they were. Some things needed to be protected from becoming something less than what I intended. Some things needed to be taken out of your current situation so they could be restored in the right way. And because you could not see that process, you believed it was gone. But I did not destroy it. I held it. I covered it. I preserved it. There are things you lost that are not broken. They are being kept. There are things you thought ended that are simply waiting. There are things you believed were over that are still alive in a form you cannot yet see. You must understand this. What is truly yours does not disappear without my permission, and if I allowed it to leave your hands, it was not because it had no future. It was because it needed to be handled differently before it could return. You thought it was gone because you could no longer access it. You thought it was finished because you could no longer see it. But absence is not the same as destruction. Silence is not the same as ending. Distance is not the same as loss of purpose. I know how deeply you felt that separation. I know how real it seemed. I know how final it looked when time passed and nothing came back. I know how your heart slowly accepted the idea that it was no longer part of your life. But your acceptance does not define my decision. Your conclusion does not limit my plan. There were moments when you tried to revisit what you lost, even if only in your thoughts. You wondered if there was a way back. You wondered if something could be restored. But as more time passed, you began to convince yourself that returning was no longer possible. You told yourself that what is gone, that life only moves forward, that what left belongs to the past now. But I am not limited by the way time feels to you. I am not restricted by what looks final. I do not operate by what appears impossible. What you think is too far gone is still within my reach. What you believe cannot return is still under my authority. What you accepted as finished is still part of what I am able to restore. There are things you lost that I did not allow to be destroyed because they still have purpose in your life, but not in the form they once existed. Because hear me clearly, my child, I do not always return things in the same condition they left. What I preserve, I'd also transform. What I hold, I'd also refine. What I keep, I also prepare. That means what comes back will not carry the same weakness, the same imbalance, the same broken patterns that existed before. It will not return in the same fragile state. It will return in a way that matches what you have become and what your life now requires. You are not the same person you were when you lost it. And what I preserved is not the same either. It has me held in a place where it could be reshaped, where it could be aligned, where it could be prepared to return correctly. That is why I did not let it be destroyed, because destruction would have ended it completely. But preservation keeps it alive for the right time. There were things in your life that, if they had continued without change, would have eventually broken beyond repair. And instead of allowing that final breaking, I chose to step in and remove them before they reached that point. That removal felt like loss to you, but it was protection for what was still possible. You may ask, if it was preserved, why did it feel so painful? Because separation always hurts, even when it is for a greater purpose. Even when something is being protected, the distance still affects your heart. Even when something is being prepared, the absence still feels real. Even when something is not destroyed, the silence can make it feel like it is. But pain does not mean it was gone forever. Pain means it mattered. Pain means it had value. Pain means it was connected to your heart. And I do not ignore what matters to you. That is why I did not let it be destroyed. Because what is truly meant for you carries weight in my plan. It carries purpose. It carries future. And I do not allow something with purpose to disappear without meaning. So when you look back at what you lost, do not see it as something that vanished into nothing. See it as something that was taken out of your hands and placed into mine. Not to end it, not to erase it, but to preserve it until the moment it can return in the right way. Because I am not finished with what you thought was finished. I am not done with what you believed was over. And what I have kept, I am preparing to release again, not as it was, but as it should have been all along. See, Jesus, my life is yours forever if you've given him everything. And share this video, my child. Stop right now because what I am about to reveal will change everything you thought was delayed in your life. Do not move past this moment as if it is just another message, because this is not ordinary. This is not random, and this is not something you found by chance. I have interrupted your day on purpose. I have slowed your steps for a reason. I have brought you here because there is something I have been holding back for a long time, something I have watched you struggle without fully understanding, something I have allowed to remain hidden until this exact moment when your heart is finally ready to receive it without fear, without confusion, and without running away from what I am about to unfold. I have been holding a secret about you, and today I can no longer keep it hidden. I have watched you walk through days that felt heavy without explanation. I have watched you wait in silence while others moved forward. I have seen you question whether what you hoped for would ever come or whether it had quietly passed you by. I have seen the way you tried to stay strong even when strength felt like an act you had to perform rather than something you truly felt inside. I have seen your patience stretch until it almost broke. I've seen your faith grow tired from repeating the same prayers that seemed to meet the same silence. And still, through all of that, I kept this hidden, not because I wanted to deny you, but because the moment of revealing it had to be perfect. You have been in a long season of waiting. Not a short pause, not a simple delay, but a deep, stretching season that tested your heart in ways you did not expect. There were days when you thought something would finally change, only to find yourself facing another disappointment. There were moments when you believed the answer was close, only to watch it slip further away. There were prayers you whispered over and over again, hoping this time would be different, hoping this time I would respond in a way you could clearly see. And when those answers did not come the way you expected, something inside you grew tired. Not completely broken, but exhausted from hoping, exhausted from trying to believe without seeing, exhausted from carrying emotions that had no clear place to rest. I saw every one of those moments. I saw the way your heart sank when something did not work out again. I saw the way you tried to tell yourself it was okay even when it was not. I saw the way you kept moving forward because you did not know what else to do. I saw how you learned to hide disappointment behind quiet acceptance. I saw how you began to lower your expectations just to protect yourself from feeling that same pain again. And still, even in that exhaustion, I never stopped working. Even when you thought nothing was happening, I was already preparing something that required more time than you understood. Listen to me carefully now, because this is the moment everything begins to shift. I am sending someone into your life. Not by accident, not by coincidence, not by random timing, but by my hand, by my decision, by my design. This is not something you have to chase. This is not something you have to force. This is not something you have to figure out on your own. I have already chosen this person. I have already aligned their path with yours. I have already prepared the moment when your lives will intersect in a way that will not feel confusing, not feel chaotic, but will carry a quiet certainty that you cannot ignore. His soul carries something you have been missing, not because you are incomplete, but because there are parts of your journey that were never meant to be carried alone. There are spaces in your heart that have remained empty not as a punishment, but as preparation. There are needs you could not fulfill by yourself, not because you were lacking, but because I designed connection to bring what isolation could not provide. This person carries understanding where you felt misunderstood. They carry presence where you felt alone. They carry consistency where you experienced instability. They carry a kind of peace that does not confuse your spirit but settles it. But you must not leave this moment too quickly. Do not skip this message, because if you leave early, you may miss the moment I reveal why this person is coming now and not before. There is a reason for the timing. There is a reason for the delay. There is a reason I did not allow this connection to happen earlier, even when you felt ready, even when you thought you could handle it, even when you prayed for it. What I am about to reveal will show you that the delay was not rejection, but protection, not absence, but preparation, not forgotten timing, but perfect alignment. This message is not for everyone. This is about you and me. I am not speaking to crowds right now. I am speaking to your heart, to your story, to your journey, to the parts of your life that no one else fully understands. I am speaking to the memories you do not talk about, to the nights you carried quietly, to the questions you kept inside because explaining them felt too heavy. This is personal. This is intentional. This is a conversation between you and me, because what I am about to unfold cannot be understood through noise. It must be received in stillness. Type "I trust you, God." In every storm, if you've seen Him steady your soul. Every tear you cried, I was preparing this moment. Every night you felt alone, I was working behind the scenes. Every time something did not work out, I was redirecting what you could not see. Every disappointment was not just an ending. It was a movement, a shift, a quiet adjustment bringing you closer to something you did not know I was already arranging. You thought you were losing time, but I was building timing. You thought you were missing opportunities, but I was removing what would not have lasted. You thought you were falling behind, but I was positioning you exactly where you needed to be. You have asked before, even if only inside your thoughts, why certain people came into your life only to leave. You have wondered why connections that felt promising suddenly changed. You have questioned why something that seemed right did not stay. You have tried to understand whether you made a mistake, whether you missed something, whether you did something wrong. But I tell you now, not every connection was meant to remain, and not every ending was your failure. Some were necessary exits to protect what I was preparing to bring. There is a mystery around the one I am sending. You do not fully know who they are yet, and that is intentional. If you had known too early, you might have tried to force the timing. If you had seen them before you were ready, you might have approached them with wounds that had not yet healed. If they had come before their own preparation was complete, they would not have been able to carry what they are now able to bring into your life. This is why the delay was necessary, not only for you, but for them as well. I have been shaping both of you separately. I have been allowing experiences, lessons, and growth to take place in both lives so that when the moment comes, It will not collapse under pressure. It will not break under misunderstanding. It will not fade under immaturity. What I am bringing is not meant to be another temporary connection that leaves you questioning everything again. What I am bringing carries intention, depth, and alignment that cannot be created by chance. Before this message ends, you will understand why you had to wait. You will understand why past connections failed. You will understand why this new person is different. And you will understand why what I am setting in motion cannot be stopped by anything in this world. No delay, no fear, no past mistake, no external force can undo what I have already decided. I am moving now, and when I move with intention, nothing stands in the way of what I have already prepared. Please support our channel. Our work is to bring happiness in your life and devotion to God. And if you want, you can donate to us via given link in description or pinned comment to show your support. Stay with me in this moment. Do not rush ahead. Do not let doubt pull you away. What I am about to unfold next will not only answer your questions, it will change the way you see everything that has happened up until now. Because nothing you went through was wasted, and nothing you endured was without purpose. You are being prepared for this, and now the time has come for you to see it. My child, come closer in your spirit right now, because I am not speaking to the crowd in this moment. I am not releasing a general word that passes over many without truly resting on anyone. I am not speaking to those who listen casually and move on unchanged. I am speaking to you. Yes, you. The one who paused, the one who felt something stir, the one who could not scroll past without sensing that something deeper was pulling you to stay. This is not general. This is personal. This is a private announcement from heaven, and it has your name written all over it. I have chosen this moment to speak directly to you. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, not in some distant time when everything feels perfect, but now, in this exact second where your heart is open enough to receive what I have been waiting to reveal. I did not choose this moment randomly. I chose it because I know where you are emotionally. I know what you have been carrying silently. I know the questions you have been asking that no one else has fully answered. I know the weight that sits in your chest when you think about what has not yet happened in your life. I know the quiet thoughts you have before you sleep, and the first feelings that rise when you wake up. I know you more deeply than anyone has ever known you, and that is why this moment matters. Many people hear words, but not everyone is being spoken to. Many will listen, but not everyone will recognize themselves in what is being said. But you feel it differently. You sense that this is not just sound, this is not just language, this is not just something to pass time. This is a moment where heaven has leaned close, where I have drawn near to your life specifically, where I am speaking not around you but into you. This is about you and me, not about comparison, not about others, not about what someone else is receiving. This is about your journey, your waiting, your tears, your questions, your life. Before anyone ever noticed your struggle, I noticed. Before anyone ever tried to understand you, I've already understood you. Before anyone ever spoke words over your life, I had already written things about you that they could not see. I have watched you when no one else was paying attention. I have seen you in moments when you were completely alone, when your thoughts were heavy, when your heart was tired, when your spirit felt stretched beyond what you thought you could handle. I have seen the parts of you that you do not show to the world. I have seen the silent strength, the hidden pain, the quiet endurance, and I have not looked away from any of it. This is why I am separating you from the crowd right now. For this moment, I want you to forget everyone else. Forget what others think. Forget what others are receiving. Forget comparison. Forget distraction. Because what I am about to say cannot be fully received if you are still listening as one among many. You must hear this as one who is chosen, one who is seen, one who is being directly addressed by me. I am sending someone into your life. Let those words settle deep inside you, not as a passing thought, not as something uncertain, but as a declaration that comes from my authority. I am sending someone into your life. This is not something you are creating. This is not something you are forcing. This is not something that depends on your ability to search, to figure out, or to control. This is something I have already decided. This is something I have already prepared. This is something I have already set in motion, even before you became aware of it. I know that part of you has become careful with expectations. I know that you have learned not to get too excited too quickly because of what you have experienced before. I know that you have seen things begin and then end. I know that you have trusted and then been disappointed. I know that you have hoped and then been left wondering what went wrong. And because of that, something inside you learned to hold back, to protect itself, to avoid feeling too much too soon. But listen to me carefully now, because what I am speaking is not coming from uncertainty. It is coming from intention. I am sending someone into your life. Comment, you are my refuge, Lord, if he's been your safe place in trouble. Not someone random. Not someone temporary. Not someone who will confuse your spirit or leave you questioning your worth. I am sending someone I have chosen. Someone I have prepared. Someone I have shaped through their own journey, their own struggles, their own lessons, just as I have been shaping you. This is not an accident. This is not coincidence. This is not something that just happens without purpose. This is my arrangement. You may wonder why I am telling you this now. You may wonder why I did not speak this clearly before. You may wonder why you had to go through everything you went through without this assurance. But I tell you, timing matters. If I had spoken this to you too early, you might have misunderstood it. If I had revealed this before your heart was ready, you might have tried to force it, rush it, or shape it according to your own understanding. But now, after everything you have been through, after everything you have learned, after everything you have felt, you are in a place where you can receive this not with desperation, but with discernment. I have watched you grow, even when you did not notice your own growth. I have watched how your understanding has deepened. I have watched how your heart has changed. I have watched how you have become more aware, more careful, more thoughtful. I have watched how you have learned from what hurt you. I have watched how you have started to see things differently than before. And because of that, you are now able to receive what is coming in a way that you could not have before. This is not just about someone entering your life. This is about a moment I have prepared. This is about a connection I have designed. This is about something that carries meaning beyond what you can currently see. And I am telling you now because I want your heart to be ready, not fearful, not closed, not guarded to the point where you miss what I am bringing. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not behind. You are not waiting without purpose. Everything you have experienced has been part of a process that is leading to this moment. Even the things you did not understand, even the things that hurt, even the things that made you question everything, they were not outside of my awareness. They were not wasted. They were shaping you, preparing you, positioning you. And now, I am speaking clearly so that you do not miss what is coming. I am sending someone into your life. This is my announcement to you. This is my word to you. This is my promise to you in this moment. And as you continue to listen, I will begin to reveal more, not just about what is coming, but about why it had to happen this way, why the waiting was necessary, and why what is about to unfold is different from anything you have experienced before. Stay with me, because this is only the beginning of what I am about to show you. My child, I want you to go back with me for a moment, not to relive the pain in a way that hurts you again, but to understand it in a way that heals you. I want you to remember that long season of waiting, the one that felt like it had no end, the one that stretched far beyond what you thought you could endure. It did not feel like a short pause. It did not feel like a simple delay. It felt like time itself slowed down just for you, while everything around you seemed to continue moving forward without hesitation. You remember how it felt, don't you? The loneliness that could not always be explained. You were surrounded by people at times, yet something inside you felt empty, like a space that no conversation could fill. You smiled when needed, you spoke when required, but deep within, there was a quiet emptiness that stayed with you. It was not loud enough for others to notice, but it was strong enough for you to feel every single day. You carried that silence within yourself, learning how to live with it, learning how to move with it, even when it felt like it was slowly draining your strength. There were moments when the emptiness became heavier than usual. Moments when you stopped and asked yourself what was missing, why things did not feel complete, why something inside you kept searching without finding rest. You tried to ignore it at times. You tried to distract yourself. You told yourself to be patient, to stay strong, to keep going. But the truth is, there were nights when that emptiness spoke louder than your strength. Nights when you lay still, feeling the weight of everything you had been holding, wondering how much longer you could keep pretending that you were okay. I saw every moment. I saw the repeated disappointment that slowly built up inside you. Not always from one big event, but from many small moments that did not go the way you hoped. Things that almost worked but didn't. People who almost stayed but left. Opportunities that seemed close, but slipped away. Each time, you told yourself it would be okay. Each time, you gathered your strength again. But each time also left a mark, a quiet layer of disappointment that added to the weight you were already carrying. You began to notice a pattern, didn't you? A pattern of things starting and not lasting. A pattern of hope rising and then falling again. And slowly, without even realizing it, you became more careful. You stopped expecting too much. You started preparing yourself for disappointment before anything even began. You told yourself that it was better not to feel too deeply, better not to believe too quickly, better not to hope too strongly. Because hope, when it was not fulfilled, felt heavier than silence. I saw every moment. I saw you watching others move forward while you felt like you were standing still. You saw people finding what you had been waiting for. You saw connections forming, lives changing, doors opening for others while yours seemed to remain closed. You tried to be happy for them, and part of you truly was. But another part of you quietly asked, "What about me?" You did not always say it out loud, but the question lived inside you. Why does it seem like everyone else is moving forward while I remain here? Why does it feel like I am waiting while others are receiving? Why does it seem like my time has not come yet? Those questions did not make you weak. They made you human. And I heard every one of them, even the ones you never spoke. There were days when you felt left behind. Not because you had failed, not because you were less, but because the timing of your life did not match what you were seeing around you. And that difference created a quiet pressure inside you. You wondered if you were doing something wrong. You wondered if you had missed something. You wondered if you were somehow out of place in your own life. But you were not out of place. You were in preparation. I saw every moment. I saw the emotional exhaustion that came from waiting too long. Waiting is not easy, especially when you do not know how long the wait will last. It wears on the heart. It tests the mind. It stretches your patience in ways that nothing else can. There were days when you felt strong, when you believed things would change soon. But there were also days when you felt tired, when you questioned everything, when even your faith felt like it was struggling to stand. You did not always show that exhaustion. You carried it quietly. You continued with your responsibilities. You kept moving forward. But inside, there were moments when you felt like you had nothing left to give. Moments when you wished something would finally shift, finally change, finally break the cycle of waiting. I saw every moment. I saw the way you kept going even when you felt like stopping. I saw the way you chose to stand even when you felt weak. I saw the way you continued to believe, even if that belief was sometimes small and fragile. I saw your effort, your endurance, your quiet strength that no one else fully recognized. You may have thought that your waiting went unnoticed. You may have felt like your struggle was invisible. You may have believed that no one truly understood what it cost you to keep going. But I tell you now, nothing was hidden from me. I saw every moment, every tear that you wiped away quickly so no one would see it, every deep breath you took just to steady yourself, every time you told yourself, just one more day, every silent prayer that did not have words but carried feeling, every time you chose not to give up, even when it felt easier to do so. I saw you all, and I want you to understand something deeply now. That season of waiting, as painful and long as it felt, was not empty. It was not wasted. It was not meaningless. Even when it felt like nothing was happening, something was always happening. Even when you felt still, things were moving in ways you could not see. You were not left behind. You were being prepared. That waiting was shaping your heart. It was teaching you things you could not have learned any other way. It was building a depth inside you that quick answers could never create. It was strengthening parts of you that would be necessary for what is coming next. And I know it did not feel like preparation at the time. It felt like delay. It felt like silence. It felt like being overlooked. But it was none of those things. It was a process that I was guiding, even when you could not see my hand. A process that had purpose, even when it felt confusing. A process that was leading you, step by step, to this very moment where you are now ready to receive what I have been preparing. You were never forgotten. You were never ignored. You were never alone in that waiting. I was there. I saw every moment. And now, as you stand on the edge of what is about to change, I want you to look back at that season not with pain alone, but with understanding. Because everything you endured, everything you felt, everything you survived, was part of a journey that has brought you exactly here, to the moment where what you have been waiting for is no longer distant, but near. Stay with me, because what comes next will begin to show you why that waiting had to be the way it was, and why what is coming now could only arrive after everything you have been through. My child, I know there is a question that has followed you quietly through your journey, a question you may not always say out loud, but one that has lived in your thoughts more than once. You have looked back at certain people, certain connection, certain relationships, and you have wondered why they did not last. You have asked yourself what went wrong, what you missed, what you could have done differently. You have revisited moments in your mind, trying to understand why something that once felt promising slowly fell apart, why something that once gave you hope eventually left you with confusion. And even now, there may still be a part of you that wonders if those endings were your fault, if you somehow failed to hold on to something that was meant to stay. But I need you to hear me clearly now, not with fear, not with doubt, but with openness. They were not meant to stay. Let those words settle into your heart slowly, because I am not saying them to dismiss your pain. I am saying them to release you from it. They were not meant to stay. Not because you were not enough. Not because you did not try hard enough. Not because you were unworthy of something lasting. But because what you were holding onto did not belong in the future I was preparing for you. You remember how some of those connections began, don't you? The way they felt right at first. The way they brought a sense of comfort or excitement. The way you believed something meaningful was unfolding. You allowed yourself to trust, to open your heart, to invest your time and your emotions. And for a while, it seemed like everything was moving in a good direction. You believed that maybe this was it. Maybe this was what you had been waiting for. But then, slowly or suddenly, things began to change. Conversations felt different. Energy shifted. Effort became uneven. What once felt natural started to feel forced. What once felt clear began to feel uncertain. And you found yourself trying to hold on to something that no longer flowed the way it once did. You tried to understand. You tried to adjust. You tried to fix what you could feel slipping away. But no matter what you did, something kept pulling it apart. They were not meant to stay. Sometimes it was wrong timing. You were ready for something deeper, but they were not. Or perhaps they were ready, but you were still in a place where your heart had not fully healed from what came before. Timing matters more than you realize. Two people can care. Two people can try, two people can feel something real, and still, if the timing is not right, the connection will struggle to survive. You saw pieces of potential, but potential cannot sustain what timing is not ready to carry. Sometimes it was wrong alignment. Not everything that feels good is meant to last. Not everything that begins with excitement is meant to continue with peace. There were differences beneath the surface that you did not fully see at first. Differences in values, in direction, in emotional depth, in the way you both handled life, pressure, and growth. At first, those differences were easy to overlook, but over time, they became harder to ignore. And what you once thought could work began to show you why it could not. They were not meant to stay. And sometimes, my child, it was emotional immaturity. Not only from them, but from both sides. There were parts of you that were still learning, still growing, still understanding how to love without losing yourself. There were parts of them that were not yet ready to give what you needed. And when two people come together before they are fully prepared, the connection may feel strong at first, but it will struggle under pressure. Misunderstandings grow. Communication weakens. reactions become stronger than patience, and what could have been something meaningful becomes something painful instead. But listen carefully, because this is where you must release the weight you have been carrying. Their inability to stay was not a reflection of your worth. Their departure was not proof that you are not enough. Their change was not confirmation that you did something wrong. It was simply a sign that the connection had reached its limit, that it had served its purpose, and that it could not continue into the next chapter of your life. You were not meant to build your future on something that was not designed to last. I know you felt the loss. I know you felt the confusion. I know you felt the emptiness that followed when something ended. I know there were moments when you missed what could have been, when you held on to memories, when you wondered if things could have turned out differently. But I also know what you could not see at the time. I saw where it would have led if it had continued. I saw the strain it would have placed on your heart. I saw the compromises you would have made. I saw the parts of yourself you would have slowly lost trying to make it work. I saw the future that connection could not carry. And because I saw all of that, I allowed it to end. Not to hurt you, but to protect you. Not to take something from you, but to keep something better for you. Not to leave you empty, but to make space for what truly belongs in your life. They were not meant to stay. And now, when you look back, I do not want you to see those endings as failures. I want you to see them as direction. Each one showed you something. Each one taught you something. Each one revealed what you need, what you deserve, what you cannot accept, what you must recognize next time. You were learning, even in the pain. You were growing, even in the confusion. You were becoming more aware, more grounded, more prepared. You are not the same person you were before those experiences. You see differently now. You feel differently now. You understand more now. And that growth is not accidental. It is part of the preparation for what is coming next. Because what I am bringing into your life now is not like what you had before. This time, it will not be built on confusion. This time, it will not leave you questioning everything. This time, it will not require you to lose yourself to keep it. This time, it will align. But before you can fully receive what is coming, you must release what has already passed. You must stop holding on to the idea that something from your past was meant to stay when it clearly did not. You must stop questioning your worth based on connections that were never designed to last. You must stop looking back with regret and begin looking forward with understanding. They were not meant to stay. And that is not your loss. That is your protection. That is your preparation. That is your redirection. Trust me in this, my child. Because everything that did not work before has cleared the path for what will. Everything that ended has made space for what is about to begin. And everything you thought you lost is leading you closer to what you were always meant to receive. Stay with me, because what comes next will show you how I have been working behind everything you experienced, and why what I am sending into your life now is not only different, but exactly what you have been waiting for. My child, come closer again, because what I am about to reveal now is something I have kept hidden from you for longer than you realize. Not because I wanted to keep you in confusion, not because I wanted you to suffer without understanding, but because what I was preparing could not be revealed too early. There are things I do in your life that must remain covered for a season, not as a denial, but as protection. And now, you have reached a moment where your heart is ready to hear what was once too heavy, too deep, too complex for you to carry without misunderstanding it. I have been holding this secret about you. Let those words rest in your spirit. I have been holding this secret about you. While you were questioning, while you were waiting, while you were trying to make sense of what was not working, I was already holding something that would one day answer everything. You thought your life was unfolding in pieces, scattered, unclear, uncertain. But I was never confused about your story. I was never unsure about where you were going. I was never reacting to your life as it happened. I was always ahead of it, holding what you could not yet see. There are moments when I reveal things immediately, and there are moments when I wait. This was one of those moments where waiting was necessary. If I had shown you this too soon, you would have misunderstood it. If I had revealed it before your heart was prepared, you might have tried to control it, rush it, or shape it according to your fears instead of trusting my design. And what I am preparing cannot be forced. It cannot be rushed. It cannot be handled by a heart that is still shaped by past pain. So I kept it hidden. Not from you, but for you. While you were asking questions, I was forming answers. While you were experiencing delays, I was building alignment. While you were letting go of what did not work, I was making space for what will. You saw loss, but I saw positioning. You saw endings, but I saw transitions. You saw silence, but I saw structure being built beneath everything you could not understand. There was preparation needed first. Preparation in you. Preparation in the one I am sending. Preparation in the timing. Preparation in the circumstances that had to shift before everything could come together in the right way. You were not ready before, my child. Not because you were lacking, but because you were still healing. There were parts of your heart that were still carrying wounds. There were patterns in your thinking that needed to change. There were expectations that had to be refined. There were lessons that could only be learned through what you went through. Right, amen. Lord, I rise again if you believe this is your comeback moment. And share this video.